sounds good.
This is good. This will work. I just will never stand up ever again. Let's do it.
All right. Well, welcome to Ramblemancy, everybody.
Wait, what?
Was this all for a bit?
No, it wasn't.
The microphone really did have issues.
I didn't even have chat up that time, so I didn't know. Like,
No, literally as soon as I changed as soon as right after you moved your mic to that side.
Hello there.
Hello, everybody.
we're joined tonight by Freeman and special guest Chair.
Yeah. So hello, everybody. Welcome to Ramblemancy, our last Ramblemancy of the year. In fact, our last stream of the year.
Yep.
I tried to. Tonight is our holiday hangout. Just kind of hanging out, chatting about holiday things or anything else for that matter. And yeah, we're just hanging out and doing some holidaying. I don't know what we're doing, but I will have everybody know just so that it's clear, because I don't think it is visually clear. I did my best to be festive and wear a dark green shirt and my red flannel, and I don't think it's capturing correctly. So, because Freeman and John did not realize this shirt was green until just now. But, so just scarf. So for the record, I am in fact wearing red and green. So just so everybody knows.
Actually, I didn't even realize there's green in this.
Just very temporarily,
shirt.
I will tilt this light so that you can see green.
Yeah, there we go.
Unless you're green brown colorblind, then in that case you didn't see that and you don't know. The point is, it's there. Hello, everybody.
Green is subtle, like our machinations.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we're just gonna hang out and talk about whatever comes to mind. Probably do something similar to like our Halloween one where we talked about the memories of that. Although there'll be a bit of an overlap because I think a lot of the same things of like our favorite stuff, like our fall favorites, probably overlap with our holiday favorites.
Probably.
So.
It's still October for me.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that October actually ever ended. I'm pretty sure that we're
October.
still...
What the hell happened to March through September?
Where did any of it go? To be perfectly honest.
So, John, I noticed you're drinking a beverage out of a cup that has Santa Claus's belt.
Is
that correct? Is that Santa Claus's midriff you got there?
It is Santa Claus's midriff. I'm also making my cup even more festive.
Oh, good.
Good.
But yes, it
John,
does. My cup is...
John, we weren't gonna do name tags on this one.
Oh, damn. Missed the memo.
Anyway.
The Santa Claus mug riff.
All right.
We're off to a good start.
All right. Well, I was going to do announcements, and I still am. So, here they are. We started our D&D show, our Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Yes, I know that's what it's called. It's called Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Dragon Heist what? Deep?
It's
what?
Waterdeep Dragon Heist actual play called Into Deep. We have both of the character prologues out. They will be on YouTube soon. But y'all should check it out because the whole cast is excellent, and I'm very excited about it.
I love all of them with my whole heart.
So great. Of course, that will return. Well, return. It will premiere with the campaign proper in January when we return. But yeah, so we are going to be going dark after today for the next couple of weeks. We will return January 6th with Infinite Horizon. That will be the first Rule of Lore stream of the new year. Will be a return to Infinite Horizon. So it's gonna be a time.
Mm-hmm.
Deep heist is probably my favorite version of this, and that's what I'm. Yeah, it's the deep heist.
It is literally too deep, too heist.
Too deep, too heist. Yep.
Goodness.
One of our early iterations on the name for that.
Mm-hmm. That was never actually in the running, but
But it was on a list, huh?
it
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 was on a
was
list of
on
meme answers.
one of our lists, specifically
Okay.
our list of definitely not calling it that titles.
Oh, for sure. That's always a fun list.
Yeah.
It's my favorite list.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, pretty much as far as announcements go, the big one is our schedule going forward. So yeah, we shall return after tonight on January 6th in the new year.
Woo.
Keep an eye out for any additional Rule of Lore content coming your way in between now and then, such as Patreon stuff, which will be scheduled and sent out at regular days. We'll be scheduling that content so that y'all can still get your hands on some of our tabletop stuff. And also just for any sort of announcements for time changes and things like that. Oh, speaking of time changes, I will say that In Too Deep will not be premiering once the campaign starts. It will not be premiering at the same time that the prologues did. It will in fact be half an hour later at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So going forward, and we're going to be putting out the announcement for this soon as well. But basically, once the campaign starts, it'll be premiering from now on at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays. So, yeah. That's it. That's all I've got for announcements because it is the end of the year. And we don't have much that we need to tell you about besides when we'll be back. So that's pretty much it. So before we get started, I do want to go through and just say hello, Geek Outs, welcome, Karaoke Night 69, hello, Jolly Old Up Nicholas, Spigs, hi, good to see you. I saw Amethyst Cat Lady, welcome. Lemon Twist has been subscribed now on a 9-month streak. Congrats on the new badge, Lemon Twist, and thank you so much. Let's see.
Jolly Old Obnixilus's name is actually very relevant this time of year.
It's
Jolly Old Obnixilus,
True.
Yeah.
built your horns this way. Wait.
And I saw Craft Focus. Craft Focus, hello, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah. So, just gonna be here talking about holiday stuff. So we started out by talking about John's Santa mug.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a segue. I was making a statement. That's how we started out.
It is in fact how we began. The shopping mall in my hometown used to always have this like thing around Christmas time. There would be a couple of things actually that would happen. There would be Tuba Christmas in there, where it was just like
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this like tuba as in the instrument or tuba as in tube of Christmas?
No, tuba, the instrument.
Okay. All right.
Like they would get a whole bunch of dudes from like all of the surrounding communities and they would just come in and like it's just a bunch of tubas all playing Christmas music in the big central like area of the mall. And it was actually like really kind of pleasant. Or like, and they would alternate from like just the tubas and like they would because like they would switch into just like big brassy like Christmas stuff in there too. They a lot of times would rotate through other people, but Tuba Christmas was the big event in there. And so I distinctly remember like wandering around the bookstore in the mall in like one of the wings of it and just listening to the beautiful sounds of duding coming from the center of
Tuba
of
Christmas.
Southbridge
It's
Mall.
Christmas you can feel in your chest.
Correct.
Rosita Lagata, thank you so much for the sub and welcome to Ramblemancy.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
I saw you on Discord yesterday.
Y'all haven't lived until you've heard a rockin' tuba player go off. True.
Well, then I cannot wait to live.
Here I am, having not yet lived in the year 2020.
That's very That's very like Dominion from Star Trek of you, right? Like the Jem'Hadar, where they're like, we are dead, we go into battle to reclaim our life, or something to that
Oh, that's right. That's
that kind of,
cool.
Mhm.
yeah.
We are dead. We go into the Christmas season to hear the tubas to hear the
Right.
tubas go off.
Yeah. Oh gosh. um yeah. No, I'm intrigued by this idea of tuba Christmas.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, it was a thing. I'm just like thinking of all the hometown like Christmas traditions that like were around there. And the other one that was in the mall too was also like, and this is because you mentioned the Santa mug is why I thought of it, and then I was derailed to Tuba Christmas. But they would have they had all of these like big statues of different like iterations
Hmm.
of Saint Nicholas, like from all kinds of different like places and periods of history, and you could like stop and read about them. And so the mall just like there were basically like four wings of it, and then like big department stores at each end of it, and then like
Hmm.
lots of little shops along the ways, as malls are. But like each of the four wings of the mall would just for all of December, or like the last couple of weeks of December, just be full of these big like imposing Santa statues from all over the world. Like some of them very large and imposing, and some of them like very like the like tiny like spirit versions like from like early like pagan culture that you come from. Like they're just like there was such an incredible breadth of Santas in here to go and like read things about and learn about, and like some of them were kind of terrifying. um but that's something that I remember doing. I remember actually being more unnerved by the different like Santa Clauses than like being actually enjoying that part of it
Yeah.
as a kid, because some of them were, as I said, like kind of terrifying.
Yeah. I can imagine that they would be. You said terrifying Santas, and that just makes me think of the ones from Doctor Who, right? That are like basically just androids during,
Oh,
like during
Yeah.
uh-huh.
the Christmas special where Eccleston regenerated into Tennant.
Mm-hmm.
That one. That's where my mind went when you said terrifying Santas,
Oof.
and that's
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Where's Drac? Oh, currently playing a TTRPG. That's where he is. As it
Yeah.
turns out, I said that, and then as it turns out, I actually know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I
So,
was looking at the cast because we were hosting
yeah,
before live, and I was like, oh, I know that person. Oh, I know that
I
person.
know.
Oh, that
Yeah,
person's on our programming. Oh, I know that person.
yeah. Oh
The
gosh.
TTRPG world is like at this point, after we've been here this long, I'm starting to like get that Lion King like it's a small world
Yeah.
after all like feeling
Yeah.
with
Oh,
it.
A
yeah.
little bit.
The
Yeah.
the Venn diagrams created by the TTRPG streaming world is a circle. It's just a circle.
Mm.
We all just live here, but the lights
Yeah.
are off, so we're just kind of groping around looking for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Drac, oh hi.
It's like never mind. That was a weird. I was gonna say it's like Blind Man's Bluff, but with like TTRPGs instead of kissing. Although there's kissing sometimes too, in the TTRPG world.
Mhm.
If you have good GMs. Anyway, that was a weird comparison. Yes, absolutely, Rose. This is a fight in hand. Yep, that's one of my favorite moments in that whole thing, in that whole episode. Just truly excellent. Um,
What are some what are like what are some of your guys' like Christmas like traditions or things that happen around the holidays or whatever? Like do you have anything like that you would do, or like things that you saw or like happened, stuff like this goes for chat too. Just
yeah.
like it can be weird, it can be totally normal, it can be a mall full of Santas and
So
tubas like
growing up, my mom was and is a Christmas enthusiast. That is kind of soft serving it, really, but like, um, but it's not polite to say to use the word um nut when you're talking about your mom, like Christmas nut. Not really polite. Anyway,
Mhm.
so I didn't say that, which is why. But the point is that she and I would always decorate when like decorate the house and just like put like garlands and stuff all over the house. That was always fun. Um, and period, and then punctuating the entire month of December with movies like uh It's a Wonderful Life, and um, my mom was particularly a fan of Miracle on 34th Street, of course.
Mhm.
And then, but more recently, somehow, okay, here's a question.
Mhm.
Somehow, Elf became a classic Christmas film. Like, I'm not saying that it doesn't deserve to be. I'm just
Mhm.
saying
Right.
I don't know exactly when that tip over point happened, but
I
now it
was wondering
is,
that too.
you know?
See,
So,
because I remember when Elf was like a meme,
Mm-hmm.
when it was released, and now it's like a Christmas classic
Oh,
film.
yeah, absolutely.
Like
the
people are like,
strange
ah, Christmas.
stages of media.
100%. Um, but yeah, like,
Hello.
aw, Suki.
Meow.
Yeah, like anyway, so that's now one that, which is
Huh.
weird to me, right? Because like for my for my mom, like Christmas was sort of like it was always like just this sacred thing,
Mhm.
right? Not in like a religious sense, but just in like in just that is there are classics, and somehow even with my mom, like Elf joined those classics, which is fascinating to me. I always thought it was really funny.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a unique phenomenon, right? Like I think that like I feel like I see Elf marathons
Mhm.
on TV like when I visit family around the holidays the last few years, and I'm not like sure exactly at which point that started being a thing, but everyone's like, "What? Let's Christmas movie? Ah, yes, A Christmas Story, and like Miracle on 34th Street, and that horrifying Polar Express movie." Um,
Horrifying. Hang on a second.
just the animation. It's actually a pretty heartwarming movie, but
Mhm.
Oh yeah, the
right.
animation. Well,
Occasionally, like the facial animations of that just like dip into the uncanny valley thing, and you're like, "Oh God." But otherwise, like I watched that movie a ton as a kid and
Mhm.
loved it.
I have to say, interrupt real quick. I love watching Suki like make the calculations of how to jump and then say, "Nope, not quite, not quite."
She's very intrigued by the lights behind me, and would very much like to just go nest up where I have a comic and a game sitting up there.
Yeah, Suki's like, I want to go up there.
I would like
I want
I would
that.
like okay, bye. What? What you got something to say? Tell me about it.
This episode is we're joined by Chair and Suki.
I'd watch that buddy cop
Uh,
duo.
yeah.
Um, in fact, I get the sincere impression that John does that many days, watches that buddy cop film, although it's mostly probably just Suki sleeping on chair.
Yeah,
Where
it
while
is super.
Chair is rushing down like a main street trying to get somewhere real quick.
Yeah.
She has a very particular time of day when she's a very particular. No, this is the Suki show now. What is
This
he
is
doing?
Oh,
the dynamic
well,
here is
special
like
effects.
the dynamic here is like Din Djarin and Baby Yoda, right? Like with the little ball thing on the thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where like
Yeah.
basically like he's playing with it, and then Din Djarin is like, stop that, and then he puts it back, and then a second later he's got it again. Like that's what this is.
Bunny Cop. Do you mean Zootopia?
I didn't say bunny cop. You know what I said. Um, yeah.
This is good. This is okay. So I do have I also have a oh man, I don't know. I guess I didn't really do Christmas in the traditional sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would I would celebrate Christmas with other folks up until unless I'm mistaken, up until this year before the whole thing, before
Yeah.
everything. You and Lucas and I would have dinner with your parents and
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of hang out and or watch a show of some kind.
Yeah.
And so my Christmas is kind of like that's been my
Well, for
Christmas.
the last couple of years, you've also been like working on Christmas, haven't
But
you?
also I've been working. I think I've worked on Christmas at least well, I worked there for 3 years, so at least once or twice or maybe all three. I don't know. It's pretty terrible. didn't I come over one time
Yeah, it
afterwards
was
after
super
work?
late. It was super
Ah,
late, and
man,
we were just like hanging
don't
out.
miss that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I also did a lot of like for me it's not really about the tradition of Christmas um as a lot of folks know it. I didn't really do a tree thing. Uh I did love watching a lot of films around that time because as it happens that the weather around that time is so happens to be cold, wet, and you want to be inside and movies are fun. And then what happens to be kind of like on the mainstream is a lot of, holiday Christmassy movies, such as like the ones we've mentioned. And Winnie the Pooh even had one. Winnie the Pooh, I think, is a very merry, a very Pooh merry, a very merry Pooh year or something like that, I
Huh.
believe. If I'm not
I actually
mistaken.
know which one you're talking about
Yeah.
now that I think about it, because yeah.
And Edward Scissorhands, even I think it would be true. Like I
Really?
would, well, I don't think it was made, but I think that the days leading up or during the whole movie were on Christmas or
That's
during
so
Christmas
interesting.
Eve, I think. And I kind of
Hmm.
counted that. Oh, Home Alone. So I watched a lot of those like
Yeah,
films.
the Home
Yeah,
Alone movies. Oh my
yeah,
God.
Yep.
absolutely.
Also,
Uh,
hello, odds and ends.
Odds and ends
hey,
high.
the one time that a tree was involved was actually for our landlords at the time, our neighbors, a really good friend of mine. He would go out on the property and do some clear cutting because um, there's a lot of trees, a lot of dead trees standing, and the wind would come through and knock a bunch of trees over. And it so
Yeah.
happened to knock over an actually pretty decent tree that was blocking the river. So we went in with a couple of axes and a chainsaw and his old tractor that was his like dad. So it was like this old diesel like rusty red tractor that just made that perfect like sound as you started it. And we crossed this bridge and we went into the wooded area and we like cut the tree down to size and we dragged it out as carefully as we could and we set it up in their house. They had like a taller ceiling so you could actually
Yeah.
set up a pretty tall, it's like a 15-foot tree inside their house. It was a
Yeah.
lot of, that was the one time that was not for us. I just helped. I helped him kind of take the tree out and set it up.
Hmm.
That's a fun memory of a tree
Yeah.
on Christmas.
I remember when I was a little kid, I used to like to play with the various ornaments that we had. Like I would just play with them. I don't know. I don't know what. Like there's like a particular feeling in like for me when I think about like that about Christmas specifically when I was a kid that like is so like heavily tied to the ornaments and I don't like that I can't even describe it without even just like yeah, I don't know. There's like a I started out trying to talk about it and then I like realized there was no way that I could say anything meaningful about it because there's describing the feelings involved aren't like it's not possible. So
Sorry, jolly old up next list. The pickle ornament?
Huh.
what?
I do not. I do not know
Hmm,
the pickle ornament.
me neither. Hmm.
Did you guys like in non 2020 years, do you guys typically have a real Christmas tree, like a live tree or a faux tree?
Usually a real tree.
I mean, I have this. This is as close as it gets right here. This is a pine cone from the
Cone.
a cone from the redwoods. This is pretty. This is cool. This is my little tree. Part of,
I'd love that. You could, like, you could, if you wanted to, you could like string a little thing, like a tiny little, a little set of LEDs through that too, if you wanted.
don't give me such good ideas.
Freeman's just like, don't
I,
threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, right. No,
I am a shameless instigator and enabler. Like,
that's gotta happen though. It's gotta happen now.
Yeah.
mhm.
Uh,
But
Jelly
Pickle
no,
Old
set
no
of color
trees
chain.
over here.
Jolly Old Nicholas says, I don't know how widespread this is. Apparently, it isn't. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Is it
So
just a pickle shaped ornament? That's a pickle.
Yeah, I'm like really curious because I
Because
lived in the same ish like region of the
So
country as you.
you have an ornament that's a pickle. You hide it in the tree somewhere, and the small children get prizes for finding it.
No way.
I have literally never heard of that. That's
okay, is this a real pickle though? Because if I were there, I'd be eating that pickle. It would be gone. I'd find it in a heartbeat.
that's so
That's a That's a
Huh.
cool tradition. Like, has anybody else in chat heard of any traditions like that? Like, not necessarily the pickle
I
specifically,
mean,
but like hiding in.
I've heard traditions of like hiding stuff in trees, and then you have to like having to
Hmm.
find, but not pickles. That's
I I've heard of the bread thing karaoke night, like hiding, like I can't remember. I have
hmm.
different chat, and they said it was a German tradition.
Okay, so
You
Amethyst
bake
has heard of the
bread, and
pickle thing. Huh.
whoever chomps on baby Jesus gets some kind of prize. Yeah, I have heard of that
Huh.
tradition. Like you bake like a little figurine of the baby Jesus
Oh
into like a
gosh.
big batch of rolls, and then
Hmm.
like you pass them out to everybody, and whoever winds up with the baby Jesus roll
Hmm.
gets something.
Huh.
Yeah, no, I don't think
All kinds of like
I will
all
probably
kinds
not
of like
know. I'll
weird.
probably not have heard of any of these
Huh.
to be honest. So this is really cool to hear right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that the bread one like was a thing at the church that I went to when I was a kid. I remember that being it was a very like Norwegian little Lutheran church.
Hmm.
Surprise, surprise, North Central Iowa,
Hmm.
Norwegian church. Who would have thought?
What? That
In the
sounds
part of the
fake.
country that was settled by a whole bunch of like Norwegian seminary students.
Ah.
Literally where we went to college,
Mm-hmm.
actually. Lucas and I is what started as a Norwegian seminary school, and then grew into a little liberal arts college.
Oh, I do kind of. One of the things I miss is like the admissions office in at our
Hmm.
school always had like Christmas party for everybody for the all of the like the admissions staff and also like the student workers
Hmm.
the student for the student ambassadors, and I do miss the admissions Christmas parties at Luther. I do miss those because those were lots of fun because there were always lots of like Norwegian treats. Um,
Hmm.
so good. I, they're mostly butter and sugar, but they're delicious.
Those
Yeah,
are good. Those
that's
that's a
the
good
best
combo.
thing about those. So much, so
Yeah.
much better than the other traditional Norwegian food, which was the pickled cod.
Look, listen, listen,
Well,
listen, listen.
okay.
I will never judge anybody for eating lutefisk, except for the fact that I definitely do. So
I'm
I tried it once, and I was just like, oh
I did not.
oh,
I
I'm thinking
didn't.
of something different. That I haven't tried that. I would like to.
Yeah.
hello,
Hi,
Dean.
Dean.
Hey.
I
I yeah
have not formed any opinions yet because I haven't seen it yet. I was gonna watch it
yeah.
to before I went to bed
I
tonight.
I will say here's my my entirely non spoiler
Oh, is this Mandalorian?
reaction. Yeah, Mandalorian.
Okay.
It's my entirely non spoiler thing. I watched it. I had opinions about it, and I had feelings about it as well. And at the end of it, I definitely had a reaction.
Where they're stopped for now. This is the end
Yeah,
of the.
this today's was the season finale for season
Well,
2, I
now I'll
think.
start
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah, so now you can watch them
Now
all.
I can binge it all
Mhm.
tonight and
Yeah.
tomorrow morning.
Oh my god.
I think Jolly Old Nicholas is correct. You don't eat lutefisk. You attempt to get it past your tongue as quickly as possible.
Bonus points if you can get it into your stomach without it touching any part of your
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah. That's Hello,
Okay.
Gemini Lightning. Welcome.
Hey.
Um.
Also, karaoke night said, unrelated. What did you all get your moms slash SO's moms for Christmas? I'm having a tough time here. And I wrote something. I wrote
Mhm.
something and drew for my mom. I wrote a little poem and drew a. I know that mom doesn't watch, so I can say this on live on the internet. I wrote a little poem and I drew a picture of our old kitty on it.
Watch this be like the one time that she does.
And she lives in East Coast time, and
Fair enough. Yeah.
I know my mother, and I know that she was in bed like an hour and a half ago.
Right. Right.
Like clockwork, mom goes to bed at 8:30, chills for a little bit, reads about 4 pages of whatever book she's reading, and then is like fast asleep by 9:15 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Well, Um. Okay, so what I do is now listen. Listen. This is really simple. I take a piece of paper and I fold it in half, and I make a cute little card. You don't have to buy it. Don't buy it. Don't buy a card. Fold a little piece of paper, write a cute note. We don't really do Christmas, so what I'm going to do though is I'm going to cook her dinner
Very nice.
Love that.
and a little card. But this piece of paper now, all set. I
Excellent.
wasn't going to use this piece of paper, but it's so beautiful. It's like, oh, it's not going to show up. The light's not right, but it's just off. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's a nice color, but I'm going to probably cook her some dinner. It's just, it only seems right.
Yeah, nice. I saw Geek Outs earlier say on New Year's Day my family would all gather and make bizcochos, Mexican sugar cookies. I think that was just a family tradition, but I don't know. Family in this context means all my aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, etc. Yeah, like family, like, yeah, capitalized in both.
Big family.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, like one of the things that we used to do, being Puerto Rican family, like Puerto Rican Christmas is technically January 6th, which is the day that we are coming back. Uh, it's so yeah, it's Three Kings Day or Dia de los Reyes, and it's supposedly the reason for its existence is that that's the day when the three wise men arrived at the birth. Um, but
Oh.
anyways, but most of so our Christmas we get like an extra couple of weeks of it because celebrate both. So we get an extended holiday
I love
season. But yeah, so
Heck
like
yeah.
so like one of the things that we used to do, haven't done it in a long time actually. I think the last time we did it, I was like, I want to say 14, maybe 15. And we would make pasteles, which is basically it's different than what in some Spanish speaking cultures they call pasteles, but for us it's basically like plantain, like mashed, like grated and like then like mashed plantain that's like with meats and other stuff that's sort of rolled into like plantain leaf and then like
Mhm.
cooked.
Ooh.
And those are pretty tasty. And yeah, it's very very much holiday food, Puerto Rican holiday food.
Ooh,
Um,
that sounds so good.
yeah, it was. I was never really like a huge fan of it, but it was just
Mhm.
I ate it because like it's just that time of year. It's what you do, like.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, holiday food. That's a good one.
mm-hmm. uh, Holidays, in my mind, holidays are like 80% special food.
Yeah,
That's like
absolutely.
that's what it's about. It's
I really,
I don't give a shit about anything else. It's just like food.
Yep.
I think like, and that, I think that is sort of true too. Like generally though, like that is like a thing because that probably dates back, and I feel like I read this somewhere, but I can't actually confirm it, so I might just be talking out my ass. But like the the kind of things that you make around the holidays usually feature ingredients that would have been more expensive or hard to procure way back when. So like food was a good way, like, or was a way to um like mark those celebrations.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's like you normally don't have the money or the need to buy sweets, buy and make sweets.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um,
Food coma time. Yes. The holidays are just a long chain of food comas and like food like of feasting
100%.
and then food comas and then
I
recovery and then feasting and then food coma and then
Hmm.
recovery.
Absolutely.
I can imagine just from what I have seen that uh, holidays at the Alpha Dean household are probably just decked with all kinds of amazing food.
Oh, that's got to be epic.
I would kill for just like a couple of pictures
Yeah.
of your holiday, just like of the holiday table spread, like of your
Absolutely.
kitchen right before everybody eats.
Um,
Ooh.
It's got to be just divine.
Epic cooker. Yes, this I have seen. Um, Rosita says, my family watches the 90s movie of Twelfth Night on the 6th while taking down our decorations. Nice. That sounds, yeah. I'm trying to think, like, yeah, I'm trying to think, like, so my family is extremely chaotic. And so, um, so we don't have, like, a particular take down decorations day. We're that family whose Christmas tree is still up in like February. that's that's us. So
That I was my mom and dad were always like ready to take the Christmas tree down by like the first week of January, and I was always the one that was just like, no, it has to stay
well,
for
it's
like
like it's not like we do it on purpose. It's just one of those things that's like it just keeps getting pushed down the line, and it's like, well, it's there. It's I guess it just kind of stays there. That's where it lives now, and then at a certain point, you're just like,
this is a fire
it's
hazard.
almost spring. We should probably take that down.
Yeah, and
It's
then
probably time for that to go.
it does sort of become a fire hazard at that point too, for sure.
Or a fire boon if you have
Well, yeah,
fire
more
if, like
importantly.
have like a wood fire wood
Exactly.
stove.
Oh yeah, because
It's
you guys
perfect.
have a wood stove in your
Yeah.
place, don't you?
Not
It
only that,
becomes
but like I will say when pine needles are dry,
Mhm.
they this is nothing to do with the holidays, but they burn. They don't burn easy, but they burn hot, which is excellent. They burn hot for a long time,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is good for starting fires. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's something about the oils
hmm
Mhm.
yeah,
in pine trees, isn't it?
yeah,
That causes that to happen.
Yeah.
yeah.
The sap's the same
Pitch,
too.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Pitch,
It's like
pitch.
yeah. So, yeah. Apparently today we're getting tips for how to get your fireplaces started quick.
Pine needles.
Dry or semi-dry pine needles.
Mhm.
Hmm. Oh man, that makes me actually just thinking about Christmas trees and stuff reminds me of like the old Christmas tree farm that we used to go tree hunting on,
Mm-hmm.
which was this place. It was like an hour or so in this. It was outside of this tiny little town in like just north central Iowa, um, in one of the few kind of like sort of hilly regions near like one of the little towns that my mom used to do like special education like AEA consulting in, and there was this Christmas tree farm out there, and we would always like they you know like the time honored tradition of going out and like finding the tree that like fit your living room and like was a shape that you want, and then cutting it down yourself and stuff, and then strapping it to your car and driving back. But like the thing that was cool about this one is that for kids, the family had these two giant, like these huge, super friendly golden retrievers,
Oh
and they had like an old, like child-sized Christmas sleigh,
my
and they would
god.
leash the two golden retrievers up to it, and then the kids could be pulled around by these two
Oh
big
my
friendly
god.
dogs. Like there's a picture, I think, not of me but of Colin riding in the sleigh with the two dogs pulling it. It was the cutest
Perfect.
thing
Oh
ever.
my god.
I miss those dogs so much. And then like the house, like they had a little warming house where you could come in and like warm up your hands, and there was always like like the mom and one of her daughters would be in there like making Christmas wreaths out of like the cast off branches that they would trim off the trees and stuff, and it smelled like pine needles and apple cider in there. And then the dogs would come in to warm up, and then they'd get them hooked up to the sleigh again, and then like take a new like batch of kids out on the little. It was so cute, so cute.
That reminds me. Did any of you? Because this was a thing that like I dealt with a lot because growing up in Montana. But did any of you? Did you go? Did you ever do hay rides
Um,
around Christmas time?
it
Mm.
was actually I remember that they were a thing. They would I think in my hometown they would have them like around downtown and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Like it's
Yeah.
right, especially like right towards Christmas. I want to say that there was like a hayride
Yeah.
or two around there that would kind of take you around some of like the little like historical landmarks in the downtown area, because I live in the town that Meredith Willson was born in, and so there are a few landmarks related to him there.
Mhm.
Jolly Old Hubnix says hay rides are fall things around here. Gets too cold by December, as if
Yeah.
somehow that wasn't true in Montana as well. But in the funny thing about it is like in my when for us the hay rides, this is a very Montana thing though, which is that they served a purpose. They were functional as well because we did hay rides, but we used them to go caroling. So like you're doing two holiday things at once.
Right.
It's like, yes, it's a hayride, but also it's practical. It is practical
Hmm.
transportation from place to place.
And I have a really good feeling that it's not practical in many other places. I can't think.
I mean,
Maybe not over here, at least. I don't know. Maybe I'm
pro-
talking out out of
at the
nowhere.
very least, it's more practical in other places because, like in Montana, like everybody's got a horse.
Right.
They're already horses, and you know, fucking might as well hitch them up. Whatever, let's
Hmm.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Hitch
It's
them
not
up.
that
Let's do
like
Christmas shit.
I don't know. I'm allergic to hay, so I probably
Yeah,
would never do it
yeah,
ever.
yeah. It is truly a baffling concept when you consider that there are lots of people with like hay and grass allergies. But yeah,
And when like you roll around in it all the time as a kid, I wonder where it happened. Like I always got the grass one. I don't understand where the hay one came from. I
yeah.
At least I can avoid hay, all right, but grass not so much. Okay, I can't
Right.
help it if I like roll around the grass sometimes, in the summertime, but spring, I
Hmm.
guess. But
Dean says, "Are any of you guys running a holiday game?" And I am actually. I had to push it back because some like Secret Santa celebration plans got rescheduled to the same time that I was going to run it. But I am running a Lasers and Feelings hack called Love and Justice. It's a magical girl hack of lasers and feelings. So I'm running that, and the players are all magical girls at a winter festival where something goes wrong.
Ooh,
Um,
hmm,
so
excellent.
that's my holiday game. I'm probably gonna run it a little bit after the holidays or like between Christmas and the New Year. But that's my holiday game
That sounds
actually that I'm
awesome. I am not running a holiday game. In fact, unless I just decide to run some one shots over this next like I'm not going to be running any kind of game over the next few weeks.
I just play some video games.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can think I can think of one game that you might either play in or run that I made recently.
Now that would be a fun game to have a holiday game of.
That would
That
be.
Ah,
now there's an idea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Matt has
Mm-hmm.
named it
Yep.
I haven't published it yet. I want
hmm.
to pretty it up a little bit before I do, but I have made a hack of lasers and feelings called Kobolds and Trench Coats, and that could make a very
Mhm.
fun holiday a
Yeah.
very fun holiday game.
That would be great.
You're fine, Matt. It's not it's
Uh
it's not a it's not a big secret.
Rose says around here, Washington. Hey, you're in Washington too. Hi.
Whoa.
I didn't play.
It's so wet that hay starts to mold if you look at it sideways. So hay rides,
Yeah.
or when when the rain really sets in, yeah, they absolutely. Um, I
Oh,
once,
great. Two of my worst enemies, hay
yeah,
and mold.
that's the thing about Washington that I think a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, it rains a lot there. I'm like, that's not the problem. The problem isn't that it rains a lot. The problem is just that it's constantly wet, whether
Mhm.
it's raining or not. Like you leave a leather jacket out in the woods for too long, it turns back into a cow. Like it is
Yeah.
so fucking wet, like all the time. It's-
I didn't know that leather jackets were just like cows just add water.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, leather
It
jackets. That's
almost,
how they make them. Didn't you know? You just dehydrate
you know,
cows.
man,
just dehydrate a cow.
nature, it's fucking wild.
Yeah, crazy how nature do that.
Man, so like we didn't even have to like is that why I just find like leather jackets just like lying out in pastures
Hmm.
during the summer
Yep.
sometimes? Like the cows just got too hot and dried out, and so now there's just like
It's
a
very
chic
it's
leather
very
jacket.
convenient sometimes because during the whole like during when it's really dry out, you don't have to worry about the cows because they just I'm done with this
Oh
bit.
no, continue, go.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Up in the tack room one day and bam, cows. Yeah, just like I just
It's like a
imagine like,
clown
all
car,
right,
but with
hold on, I'm just
cows.
gonna get my coat before I go, and oh god,
That
like
would
a
have been that
2-ton
would have been a
animal.
nightmare for me as a
Oh
child
no.
because I was like,
Hmm.
so a fact that has been forgotten, I think, in the rule of lore is the fact that when I was a child, I was terrified of cows, which is, I will say, a very inconvenient thing to be terrified of in Montana. But um, yeah, that's
Also,
Yeah.
Dean, if I run a game of kobolds and trench coats in the next couple of weeks, I will hit you up.
yeah. Oh gosh. Lucas was no cowboy, except in the very literal sense, that is exactly what I was, which makes it even that more incomprehensible that I was afraid of cows. But
Oh.
yeah, it wasn't so much that I was afraid of cows, like as a concept. I just didn't like the noises that they made. I just didn't like the sounds they made. It just, yeah. If you ever heard
Fair. Well,
like several hundred cows, just
fair.
it's a terrifying sound. If you, it's terrifying.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of the opening scene in Mars Attacks, where it's. Am I the only one who's seen it here? It's
I
just like
It's
haven't.
I was very young when I saw it,
hundreds of
so
cows on fire running down a highway. I don't know why it was funny, but just the way that it was filmed and the way it was
yeah.
framed, it just.
Fair
Oh
enough.
well, there it is.
I am utterly unsurprised that Karaoke Night has also seen the film.
hmm
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's good. I haven't seen it in a while. I should. I'll make that one of my holiday watches, even though it's not a holiday film, I don't think.
Mm.
Where did my cat go?
Any film can be a holiday film if you watch it during the holidays.
Ah, snap.
Okay, sorry. Um. Yes.
And there was a lump in the blanket. Like I couldn't figure out where Suki had gotten to. She's probably in the other room, but like I saw a lump under the blanket on my bed, and I was like, "Is that a cat or is it just the balled up blanket?"
Right, right. Perfect. Well, I just remembered that I believe I had one more favorite story
Oh
for the
yeah, yeah.
holiday.
Go for it.
I was doing a production of Scrooge, the musical, at our local theater here in Port Townsend. And I wasn't the stage manager, but I felt like one. And I had complete control over the backstage area. I would show up like an extra hour early because it was a revolving set in a stage and backstage that was so small. I don't know why they thought they were going to pull this off, but they did. So it had a revolving set, and I made sure that everything backstage in this small cramped area was set up just right so that when the cues happened, the next set would be revolve around and go out. I had it down so good, and I felt so good about it. And I also had a little number where I think there, I'm not sure what scene it was, but I show up in the back and I do like a little dance. And as I'm dancing, I'm like pulling the set away off stage, and then the other one's coming in place. I don't know why that that gave me such a like that was such a good time. It was such a fun chaotic play to
I,
do.
you know what's funny is I remember you working on that play more than I remember the actual play. Like, cause I know I went to see it,
I know.
and I remember very specific things from it, but none of them are the actual play.
I know.
just just you working on it and talking about it, and yeah.
I know. I think nine because that's because 95 like way more than that, like almost 100% of what I did was actually behind the scenes
Yeah.
and leading up to the actual play. I didn't do a whole lot. I didn't have lines. I had one musical number or one dancing number where I was like a backup dance, well, not backup dancer, but I was a dancer of some
hmm
kind. And then I left. Most of it was behind the scenes, and it was fun.
Hmm. Yeah. Mostly what I remember from the actual play itself is I
Hmm.
remember our like the teacher from the professor from the community college who taught
Dan Stangle.
yeah, Stengel. He was Scrooge, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, I just remember him in a nightgown and
Yep, that's
nightcap,
right.
and that's all I remember.
During one of the ghost scenes.
That's like the only thing from that show that I remember.
It was so
Because I remember watching that, I was like, wow, this is the most amount of personality I think I've ever seen him have. This is the most interesting I've ever found anything that came out of his mouth, and like that's all that I yeah.
I did the show with him, and then a year later, he was my teacher.
Yeah. As a total aside, I'm not being mean for no reason. I'm
No.
saying this for context. This is literally the only teacher I've ever had in whose class I fell asleep purely because of how boring he was and for absolutely no other reason. Like, I have fallen asleep in class because I was tired before. I have never, other than in this guy's class, fallen asleep because I was bored. Never, except for in that class. Anyway,
It's
that's
kind of funny. I was reading notes from the political science class,
mhm.
and I was so fascinated. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a cool thing!" But I would not have thought that then.
I
The
know.
notes interested me more.
I know. It was
It's very bizarre. I love it.
yeah, just absolutely terrible. Like
But he was a good Scrooge, though.
yeah, that's why like it was very surprising. I was like, man, if he was half this interesting in class, I think I would have, done a good job in that class. I would have learned something instead of just passing. Uh,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
I A Christmas Carol was also like a part of my family's holiday traditions, but not so much in not in so nearly an interesting way as your guys's. We always drove up to the Twin Cities because it was about 2 hours drive from my hometown to the Guthrie uh, to see their yearly production of the of Christmas Carol, which like in a weird twist of fate, eventually one of my friends who I went to college with wound up being in that production, the same production that I saw as a child. And then I went as an adult to see A Christmas Carol now with one of my friends in it, which was a very like surreal experience
Ooh,
for me.
wow. Yeah, I
Like
bet.
sitting at for those it is actually somebody that has appeared in this Twitch chat before. Verdiman is the theater professional in question, but it was wild, like sitting there reliving a bunch of like childhood memories, but also like here I am as an adult and I know somebody who's in the cast like out there
Mhm.
right now. I'm like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I just remembered something very important that cannot go without being mentioned on this stream as far as
hmm.
like holiday traditions slash movies. The best Muppet film of all time, A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just
Undisputed.
yeah, the
Well,
best. So
I'll
that's
watch it then.
yes. That was just with Michael Caine as Scrooge, isn't it? It's Michael
Yeah.
Caine? Yeah.
That's cool.
I remember seeing, I think on Twitter the other day, it was like, did they need to hire Michael Caine to be Scrooge for a Muppet
They
Christmas?
sure didn't, but boy
But
did
did
they.
they?
Here's the thing, Muppet
Oh.
Treasure Island. Okay, fine. Muppet Treasure Island is good, but it's no Muppet Christmas Carol. And I I won't fight you about this because it frankly doesn't matter, but I have my opinions.
I just love
That's
Tim
it.
Curry in anything.
That's true. Tim Curry is great. That, fun fact, is the first film that I ever saw in theaters. Muppet Treasure Island.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Cool.
My very first time in a
Huh.
theater. I think I was like 6.
Oh,
Yeah.
mine was the Phantom Menace. So,
Huh.
oddly, I think that no, that's a lie. That's the first time I went into the balcony. It's
Oh,
not the
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing,
Not the
but
same
it's sort
thing.
of
No.
it's a first,
Hmm.
but not that. It's actually Mulan, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Jolly All That Next says mine was Cats Don't Dance. I think we've talked about this before. Yeah, that's this is very good.
Nice.
um, but yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol is it's the most important Christmas movie, in my opinion.
Huh.
One More Sleep Till Christmas. Yes, yes, that is a great. There's so much good music in that film too. That's the yeah.
Huh.
There's good Christmas
Emperor's
songs.
New Emperor's New Groove. What a good first film.
Ugh. Sorry, I'm just remembering how that means that we can talk about having seen. We're at a point now where we can talk about having seen films in the theaters that came out like 2 decades ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
oh,
sure
For those of
is.
you who have lived significantly longer than we have, I know that that's nothing, but the point is
yeah.
that it's not nothing to those of us who have only lived this amount of time. Uh,
It is a first for us.
uh,
It is, as Geekuts puts it, a milestone.
yeah. Yes.
Mulan was out in 98. I wasn't sure. I wasn't entirely sure until right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
Was
of
the
like,
Aristocats really in 1970?
I, huh. Hmm.
yeah.
Sometimes that'll happen where there was like a VHS tape that I watched a ton as a kid, and I'll be like, when did that movie
Right.
come out? Like the 90s? And it's like, no, 1974. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Uh, I think the thing that's confusing about that one in particular is that like every single Disney movie at the time, like in the 90s, for some reason had the Aristocats in like the, like the opening, like coming soon to
Oh
theater, right?
yeah.
Like, or to VHS, right? Like that thing. Every single movie for some reason had the Aristocats in that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is that's confusing me when I think about that, because like I kind of knew that that was an older film,
Hmm.
but like it was always like in the coming soons, and so
Also,
like
another one that was like that is Oliver and Company. Constantly, every single
Huh.
yeah,
movie, every single
Yeah.
one. Never actually saw that movie,
Same.
but I
I don't
feel
think.
like I did because of how often I saw clips from it in that sequence. Anyway, yeah.
yeah, I feel you, Rosita. I still haven't really processed that the 90s were more than 10 years ago. Also, I it's just weird to me, you know? Um, it was also weird to me, like when I was substitute teaching and stuff, when I would be like, everybody in this room was born after the year
That's
2000.
the weirdest thing. It's like at some point my brain just stopped tracking the passage of time.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's so bizarre because there's all of these like cultural touchstones for me
Mhm.
that like happened in the early 2000s, and like I I'm like, all of you were like either not alive or not old enough to be aware of anything around you when I was like having these formative experiences. It's weird for me.
Yeah. Man, weird times. Um Oh my gosh. Uh
Also, hello, Awareling.
Hi.
It's good
I
to
don't
see you,
It's
by the
good to see
way.
you.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't like that new people were allowed after 2000. That's the best way I've ever heard anybody put that.
Oh.
Yeah, as it turns out, like the production line just kept releasing them,
Yeah.
but like nobody really like actually gave it the rubber stamp to do so. So like
Mhm.
here we are.
Yeah.
Gen Z's all right, I guess.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Um yeah, I'm thinking about this now and I uh-oh.
Sorry, I just saw Jolly Old Up next to us says I regularly work with kids born in like 2010. It's jarring. Like, how are you able to walk already? That was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh gosh. It's it's definitely weird. Um
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, but for real though, like my brain has only recently come around to the fact that that the year 2000 wasn't just like a couple years ago. Like cuz up until very recently, that's how like my conception of time was going, right? Like I'm like, "Oh yeah, 2000, that's like yesterday." And then I'm like, "Wait, no, not even close." But now I'm finally like around to the point where like I've caught up to my high school graduation in my mind now.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
I've caught up. My conception of time does not go beyond 2010. So I imagine in another 10 years, we'll be about here. We'll be about here-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be looking back on like, oh yeah, when we started rule of law.
Yeah.
That's the milestone there.
Hmm.
Because like, no, I know what you mean. Like it seems like my high school graduation was just a couple years ago, and
Hmm.
in
Mm.
reality, it is almost 10 at this point.
Yeah.
Like, so that's wild.
Yeah. Time is fake. It's made up, and you shouldn't believe in
Especially
it.
That it
especially
is.
so this year.
Mm.
I don't know what sorcery possessed all three of us to take a drink at exactly the same
The kind of
time.
sorcery
It's
only
because we live in a
learned.
simulation, and no.
A glitch in the matrix just
Yeah.
occurred.
Yeah. We're
Just
like,
some.
it is time.
By the way, chat, remember to stretch. Go ahead and take a drink of whatever you have closest to you. I hope that it's something that is, you know,
Oh,
good for you.
shit. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold
Wake
on.
Good
up, drank.
I'm gonna
drank.
go off camera for a second because I don't have a container for drinking what I am going to drink. And Twitch TOS is very specific about this kind of thing.
We'll just hang out here until
We'll
the,
vamp for a
the
minute. I'll
proper
just
the
sense.
proper vessel is
I can
acquired.
still hear you. I'm
Oh, good.
still right here.
Okay, so the vessel's nearby. It's just
Since Awareling is in chat, I just like feel that you should know, Anna, that there is somebody. They're not in chat tonight, but there is somebody who routinely shows up, and harasses me about when the Dreamwell Chronicles will return. And I thought that you might appreciate that. There's routinely somebody in here missing our D&D actual play.
And Geekouts, you're correct, except here's the thing. They are also the Twitch TOS is very specific about labels and brands, like brand containers and things like that. So the real problem isn't about the actual consumption of it, but that the container that it is currently in, um, which is its own bottle. So yeah, that's why I did that. Um,
TOS.
terms of service, yeah.
Oh, not tons of stuff.
I mean, it kind of is that too. So, if you ever actually attempted to read it, it is tons of stuff.
That's why we made our like Rule of Lore has our own little. I just realized that since I am out of tea, I can just put my little ho 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 on my.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
It's
Oh,
like
man.
it's when we wrote the Rule of Lore's got like a little code of conduct for like ourselves and our guests and stuff like that, and then we just kind of boiled the Twitch service terms of service down to some things like please wear clothes.
I always love when I show that to somebody, when I show that to a new person, and they're like, "Has that been a problem before?" And the answer is no. It's preventative. It's purely preventative.
So that it doesn't.
My
Yeah.
other favorite item on that one is just that you are legally obligated to show your pets on stream if you have them.
That's a cute one. I like
Yeah.
that.
I always point to those two items on the list. I always specifically call those two out whenever I'm bringing in new people to the channel. Like for longer than a one off. Because I'm like, I know John would be upset with me if I did not specifically draw your attention to these two items. So
The pets are very important.
yeah. And it's great because during It Came from the Loop, we got Alex's pets, we got Aki's pets. It was great. We all around.
She is passed the frig out.
It's because she was running around and like trying to get into mischief, and like you don't just get into mischief, John, and not collapse afterwards. Okay, like I don't know if you've ever done mischief, but it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like Suki has 2 speeds and chat has seen both of them so far. Oh, sorry, 3 speeds. There's Rocket, Mischief, and Passed Out.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 Suki settings.
Yeah. Yep.
There's rumors of a fourth one, Cuddle Cat, but that one's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's an urban myth.
Suki Cam. If if ever I stream on my own channel at any point, there will have to be Kitty Cam.
Mischief Speed is my least
Mischief.
favorite. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
a
that's the one where Suki tries to eat my copy of the Phoenix, which I would very much prefer she not eat, both because it's an issue of an issue of a comic I like, and also because that would be bad for her.
yeah. All that paper and ink probably bad. Probably not great.
Mhm. I understand. It's very colorful. It probably looks good to crunch. It's like the same thing as dice or whatever.
Hmm.
But like
Or magma.
or magma.
Right though, it looks like it's you want to because it looks like it has a texture that you just want to, but that would be bad.
Okay, what?
Oh, we're talking about eating lava,
Yeah.
eating hot rocks.
Hot rocks here. Hot cakes.
Yeah.
The scarf is way too warm, and I'm gonna take it off now.
No, like that's
Ouch.
right. Like the one of the reasons I
Gosh.
don't ever wear this shirt is because this shirt is a polo, but it's also
Right.
so you can only really wear it when it's warm, but it's also really thick and warm, so like there's never a time to wear it. But like doubling it up with this, oh, it's getting hot in here.
Oh, I know that. I
Wait, Charlie
that
stole.
song. That song. It just popped up in my head, but I won't do a sing. I don't want a copyright strike. Okay, enough of that.
What if they're so small? How did they get away with your bag of dice? I suppose the bag of dice is
Hmm.
also pretty small, but like I
Wait,
dude, she's so strong.
why have I been possessed by the spirit of Haku?
Haku, hey Remy, good to see you. Um Haku routinely will be like we'll come across like lava in a game, or Bree will be drawing like fire or molten lava or something, and Haku will be like, I want to eat it.
Gotcha. Okay, I see.
It's a very Haku thing, looking at
Well,
like
look,
deadly things and
it
being like, I should crunch.
listen. There I don't know about most deadly things, but at the very least, if you've ever seen pictures of like lava flows, it looks like shiny glowing jello.
It's forbidden taffy.
Yeah, exactly, taffy.
Forbidden taffy.
Yeah. Um yes, came in at the right time to discuss lava consumption. Happy holidays. Hello, Remy. Um yeah, it's you could eat the lava once. That's true. That's true. It's not impossible. It's just
Mhm.
it could never happen again.
It's a one time.
Yeah.
It's it's one
Uh,
of those things that's it can only happen once and it's probably too good to only be able to do it once, so it's better to not do it at all.
Yeah.
mm,
That's
There you go.
that's
mhm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well put.
It looks like it
it's a
hurts to
beautiful
be
love
within 20 feet of it.
story. It looks like hot rocks. The experience of a lifetime. Yeah. Very true.
I don't know why that makes me think of no, I know why it makes me think of Harry Potter, because Hagrid made something called rock cakes or something like that.
I think it was an accident too, but I could be wrong. No, that
No,
was completely on purpose. That was just his thing.
There
he
were a
made them
couple different instances because it's very well established that Hagrid is a terrible cook.
yeah. He's terrible. Like, I think that Hagrid's an okay cook, but he's awful at baking. I think that like that was it. Anytime he tried to like, I think it was always baked goods that they
I
were like
I
trying
truly
to.
don't remember. It's
I
been
can't.
forever, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't remember very well.
Ooh,
Although it
rock
might have just
cakes.
been that he was awful at cooking in general.
My
I
jaw
most
just twinged at the thought.
Yeah.
there's like
Uh,
there's so many lines in the Harry Potter series of one character or another breaking a tooth on a raisin in those things.
I was gonna say
So
you could have stopped it. There's so many lines in the Harry Potter series.
correct. Really, like when I think about like food descriptions in
Mhm.
media, I often gravitate to like memories of reading the Percy Jackson series and all the times that they would describe the taste of nectar and ambrosia and like what it tasted like to every different person.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that just makes me think of all the feasts you see in all the Miyazaki films. If there's a feast or any food in general, really, like that anime food is just the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially Spirited Away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's
God,
so
the
much
other
good.
day I was craving sushi. Like just I need it.
Oh,
But like and it's not that I can't get it. It's just that I can't get good
yeah.
sushi where I
It's
am. I can't even get
let's
mediocre
see.
sushi where I am.
Well, I think maybe a couple places are at least that maybe. I just don't know. Like,
Yeah.
There's like a
uh,
grocery store where I could get some very questionable. I could get like some gas station sushi or
Yeah.
something, but like,
ooh,
why would I do that to myself?
Why?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, no. I
I
mean,
think the nearest sushi. I could get sushi, but it would be 3 hours round trip for me to do it. So I'll pass.
yeah. Wow. It
On the
has to be
subject of
really good.
like food descriptions though, that was maybe one of the things that I always found super captivating about the Lord of the Rings books is
Yeah.
Tolkien's descriptions of food in them. Like, don't get me wrong, Tolkien is a wordy motherfucker, and like a lot of his writings and descriptions are overindulgent and um, but what I will say about them is that when it comes to food, and when it comes to describing food, and when it comes to describing like treasures and crafts, like it's just they're just so captivating. Those are the
Hmm.
things that stuck in my head.
Hmm.
Also, hello, Heart of Handprints. Uh, we are
If I
talking
didn't,
about anything and everything with the loose pretense at a holiday stream.
we
Extremely
talked
loose because we have not talked about holiday stuff for quite some time.
for about like 20 minutes or so, I'd
Yeah,
say.
it's been a bit.
We had like a solid hour of holiday reminiscing, and then we sidetracked, and that's just kind of been where we live now.
Well,
Um,
if you want to go back to that, I do have some more stuff to say about snow because that's like my number one.
Mm.
In fact,
Mm-hmm.
that's it actually. I love it when we actually get snow here where we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I know what you mean. I've read just one last Tolkien comment in chat because like I have
Ooh.
read. I used to read The Hobbit at least once a year every summer. It was like a tradition thing for me. As the summer kind of came to an end, I would crack open my little pocket-sized copy of The Hobbit and read it. Um, and so yeah, I descriptions of Smaug's hoard just still sit in my head
Or
forever.
anytime they describe like things that like treasures of the ancient dwarven kingdoms,
Hmm.
anytime they
Yeah.
do that in those books, I love that. I live for that shit.
Hmm. Anyway, snow stories.
Just that I love the snow. All right, like we could never. I think my favorite memory was when I was probably 6 or 7, and the snow. It's not doesn't really get that high here, but being that short and that small little boy, it was amazing. It was a magnificent snow year, and I made like a tunnel in the yard, and a
Oh,
giant snowman
I always
snow
fantasized when
thing.
I was a kid about making like tunnels in the snow. And the thing is, in Montana, you could actually do it because the snow got really high. Buried a car once, one of our cars.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and like so I always fantasized about that, but then like every time I would attempt it, what would happen is that the snow was either too dry and so it was powdery, so you couldn't actually like tunnel in it, or I would get cold and stop because I hated it. The thing is, it's just hard to dig tunnels, right? When you're a little kid, it's hard to dig any kind of in the snow with your hands, right? Because either you've got mittens, which gives you no dexterity of any kind,
True.
or you have like finger gloves, which soak through. So, like,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, I like my parents were both like big into like being outside, and we're both very active, and so we had just tons and tons of gloves
Hmm.
and like waterproof ones and stuff because they like to go skiing and everything else. And so we lived on a little dead end, and the plows and our own shoveling ourselves out in northern Iowa would create on either side of the driveway these two like 5 6 foot tall mountains of snow by like
Nice.
December, January. And so my brother and I as kids would like each choose a side and hollow them out and like fill them with little pockets full of snowballs, and like then just have the ultimate snow fight a few times every winter, with like
Yeah.
complete with like tunnels through our own snow fortresses and like
Hmm.
building up the sides and everything else. Like it was the time of our lives. And then we'd have to like change out gloves and at a certain point because they would get soaked through, and then like swap our snow pants, or like go in halfway through before the actual snowball fight
Right.
so that we could drink some cocoa and warm up.
Man, I remember
Never.
like one winter living in Montana, my mom and I went outside and we like started like making the snow was just perfect that we could make because it had some semi melted and then like gotten cold and frozen again. Like not melted away, just like gotten wet again and then solidified so you could actually make full on like bricks out of it. And that's what we did. We like tried to build an igloo, and then when we built it, probably about like what would be waist high to me now. Um, and then we didn't couldn't figure out what to do for the couldn't figure out how to like close it, how to bring it over. So we just like put part of a tent over the top of it, and then we just sat out there and read Lord of the Rings, and drank hot chocolate from thermoses.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Hell
perfect.
yeah.
I don't think I ever had a sled, but I used a
Mm-hmm.
trash can lid
Hell
and it
yeah.
worked. So we live next to like a state park,
Mm-hmm.
and um, a friend of ours stayed part time in town at a youth hostel. It was run by a close friend of his before it got shut down. And there's a hill there, but we didn't actually go to the hill. It wasn't like it was a slight hill, so you couldn't really pick up speed. So we went over to a trail that led from like one part of the fort down to the lower part. There's like a beach, and it's a gravel trail. It's by the hill where we
Yep.
watch the fireworks. Well,
Mm-hmm.
we have in the
Yeah, yeah,
past.
yeah, yeah.
It's just this very steep gravel trail usually, but it had like snow, and then people walking up and down it packed it down, turned into like this sheer ice. And so we just improvised and went down this hill.
Oh my
We're
god.
like, we're on our way. Get out of the way. We're coming down. Whatever. We shouted whatever warning we could because people were still coming up. And we'd zip down this really
Wow.
steep trail. And I did at one point actually fly off the edge of it into the brambles.
Yeah. That reminds me. You started talking about sledding, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
hey, I remember a time when I almost got very severely injured sledding.
Gosh.
I was like 8, maybe, and so my best friend and I and his brother, we were sledding down. So there was his house, the county road, and then across from that there was sort of this like field and then a hill that led up into like bluffs. But before it got up into the bluffs, there was just like a nice hill for sledding. And we sled down the hill parallel to the county road. And that was fine for a while, but you sled down that enough times, and eventually it gets like churned up, and then it becomes difficult to sled down because you get like caught up and you don't go down. So we started looking at other places on the hill to maybe start sledding down, and so we went and looked towards the county road, like the side of the hill that went down towards the county road, where but between the bottom of the hill and the county road, there's like a fair amount of pasture between there. So like it wasn't like we were in danger of. We would definitely stop before we got there. At least that would have been true if it was a hill. If it was just a hill by itself. However, so my friend decided to test it out to see if we could go, and about halfway down he bails out and he's like, okay, it's not safe. And I thought he just meant that like there was brush there, and I'm like, no, it's okay. Well, like the sleds are big enough that they'll like push the brush down. As it turns out, that is not what he was referring to. He was referring to the 10-foot drop. Um, so I just went because I was like, no, it's fine. We can do it. And I just went, and he and his brother, I remember them shouting, like, no, don't go down, don't go down. And I'm going, and all of a sudden, I see the edge, and it just goes off the edge, and just shoot off the edge of the cliff, drop 10 feet to the pasture, land, like, embed somewhat into the snow to the point where, like, I'm pushing snow out in front of me, but I can't bail because, like, the sled is like, sunk into the snow, so I can't bail. Um, and there is between the hill and the county road, there are two things. There is pasture and there is a barbed wire fence.
Oh no.
Mhm.
I couldn't
Oh
bail
my
out.
God.
I couldn't bail out. So I'm like sticking my hands into the snow, trying to like
Mhm.
stop myself, create drag and whatnot. And I managed to do it just in time, and I escaped only with just like a slight nick on my ankle from the barbed wire. So yeah, that's the thing that happened.
How did you survive? Oh my God.
Yeah, the barbed wire part, not fun, but the
Yeah.
jump sounds like fun, but only if you had the intention of doing that, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
And maybe not quite 10 feet, but I don't know.
It was
The
it was a
barbed wire
time,
fence,
yeah.
though, that's freaky.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
honestly surprised I didn't fall straight out of the sled when I flew off the edge, but
that's true. Jeez.
yeah.
No, my sledding hill story is much more tame than that. Like there was a park in our town that had like there was the sledding hill in town, and it was in East Park. Um, and there was one year that there was like an ice storm while there was snow, and so you had like ice covered snow, and it was just slick as all hell. And there was one part of the hill that was just basically nothing but ice, and so you didn't even need a sled to slide down that. And so like Colin and I and many other children on the hill were enjoying ourselves, like just like in our snow pants, like just shooting down as far as we could go, and then getting up and finding a place where it wasn't so icy to walk back up the hill, and then doing it again and again and again and again until we were too wet and cold or tired to continue. And so I had just finished. I had just finished like sliding down, and Colin was a little ways away, and then I'm like standing up, and I start to turn around, and I just hear the sound of like a toboggan
Oh
scraping
no.
against the ice, and the kid just like giggling, like the giggling of like a 4-year-old or something. And I turn around just in time for something green and cackling to fly under my vision and smash into my ankles, which fully flipped, like it hit me, and at such a speed that it flipped me forward, like I
Yeah.
flipped onto my back. And I'm just like standing there, like I spin, so I'm now like lying like this sideways across this strip of ice as another kid just comes screaming down on a little saucer, like one of the little plastic saucer
Yeah.
sleds, and then just like boom right into my shoulder and head, and just sends me spinning out along the ice. It was the worst I've ever eaten shit. Like it was like it belonged in Looney Tunes. Like you could have heard the
Fair.
whoop as I got hit in the ankles.
Oh gosh. I remember so I don't think that this really happened when you were there, John, because there was a transition in our college. There's a transition time in between my freshman year and your freshman year where like but there was a tradition in our school that of calf tray sledding,
I
right?
heard
Sledding
about
on the
that, but I never actually
right,
witnessed it.
because by the time you came in, they'd gotten rid of all the calf trays. Like we didn't really use them my freshman year. We didn't use them for like actual like like tray or anything like that. But they had them stacked over kind of by where the soft serve machine was. They had
Yep.
them kind of stacked like where the desserts were underneath that. But the following year they got rid of them. But I actually took one of the ones from the dish thing from like the dish return, so I grabbed one of those, and so like my freshman year, I actually still have one of them that my friend actually stenciled the Norse head onto and painted it, and so So yeah,
Nice.
we went sledding down the hill behind the art building, and that was a lot of fun. Then nothing special happened other than
Mhm.
my
Calf
friend
tray sledding.
calf tray sledding, and also one of my friends. So the window, the building that the part of the building that we were sledding behind, had windows into one of the dance studios, and the hip hop dance team was in there while we were sledding, and one of my friends got into sort of like a uh antagonistic signing match with the with the captain of the hip hop dance team. It was very funny. It resulted in somebody being mooned, and it was not. It was not the hip hop dance team. They were the ones doing the mooning. It was very funny. Uh,
Oh my God.
yeah, it was a good time.
What a college, what a wild time.
What a strange time when all of us temporarily lose all the things that make us sane. Um, some of us never get them back, but you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we go to college just to have all of the things that make or keep us sane stripped away before we go on to being adults.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Also Paideia for some reason.
Listen, it's a good idea in theory, just but in practice it didn't turn out. Anyway,
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. Also, Awareling says, when I was a kid, one of our llamas pushed me into a snowdrift and then stole my hat. There's a lot packed into that statement. Like,
Wow.
one of our llamas is one of my favorite parts of that, but also pushed me into a snowdrift and then stole my hat.
that's I
Like,
mean you that's pretty much all of it, John.
that's a
That's the
that's
whole thing.
I know there's
That's
just a
all.
lot to unpack here.
It sounds like Carl. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Carl.
Uh,
Oh, I mean, like it's such a power move. Like llamas are bullies, I
mhm.
guess.
Mhm.
I was carrying a bucket of food that he wanted, so he took your hat instead of the food. That was just because
that, that that was like teach you to hold things that I want.
it took both. Oh my
It's
God.
like
Whoa.
this I'm taking the fruit cuz I want it, and I'm taking the hat for the principle to teach you a lesson. Um
I mean, clearly something was learned that day because you still haven't forgotten. I don't know if I was ever mugged by a llama that I would forget it. So,
That's true. That's fair. I think that's one of those memorable experiences.
his name was Pepper and he was extra spicy.
Mm.
That, aptly named.
Oh, man, my brain just ran away with a terrible joke that I'm no longer going to. I'm not going to say now. Um. Anyway, it is well past the end of our show.
Oh, would you look at that?
Yeah. Um.
There's like the stages of Ramblemancy for me are, oh, it's only been 15 minutes and wait, it's 9 or it's 10 it's 10:15 already and oh shit, we're over.
Yeah. That's correct. That's the way these things work. Um. So actually, hold on. Let me look at something real quick because I know that there were a number of people who were streaming, and I don't know if they still are that we could raid.
Uh,
Um. But let's
Jam
see.
plan is on.
I also see.
Two
Actually, you know what? There we
times.
go. That's who I was looking for. Um. So we'll get to that in a second. But um, we are. This is it. This is the last stream ever of Rule of Lore in 2020.
It's kind of wild to
Um.
think about.
Yeah. The last time that you shall see our faces in this year. Um, unless you see them in some other way for some reason, which is possible. Because I actually, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, there's a chance. I don't. This is not confirmed yet, but just keep an. I'll let people know. But there's a chance I may be back on Scriv the Bard's channel on Tuesday. I
Ooh.
don't know if that's happening or not, but I still need to check with her. But there's a chance that I will be back on her channel, returning to. Uh, so when we were doing the Chill Creation stream this week for charity, At one point, we were creating a uh, there was a store that we created that was called the Heroes Retreat. The T in the first T in retreat was capitalized, so it was basically the whole premise behind it was a store that sells things to allow heroes to relax and to relieve stress and downtime kind of stuff. And what we said that we framed the whole thing as an advertisement for a grand reopening, and just decided that it actually seems like, hey, that sounds like it could be the premise to an adventure hook, right? Like an adventure hook. So Scriv said, if we get one donation on this stream, we'll come back and write the adventure for, or the adventure hook at least, for that the adventurers retreat. So that might be happening this Tuesday. I don't know yet. Uh, Unconfirmed, but I will let you know. So you may actually very well see my face again before the new year. But um, otherwise, we will see you again in January. Um, and yeah, and of course we'll be around on the Discord. We'll be talking about stuff, sharing memes, and saying
Probably
good.
hanging out in voice, playing
Yeah,
games and whatever, just
yeah,
like chilling over the holidays at some
absolutely,
point.
absolutely. So, so yeah, thank you everybody for coming and hanging out. Lemon Twist, I'm glad you were able to be to as much as we love VOD Squad. I'm glad that you were able to come and hang out with us today live. Um, so yeah, so actually, speaking of Scriv, Scriv had a charity stream recently, and one of the people that was on the charity stream, Malls' board, is currently streaming.
Hmm.
Uh, well, she was streaming Hades. I think she might be doing something else right now. But Malls is really cool. I think we're gonna go raid her right now. So
Hell yeah.
Love it.
let me
As
set
we're
this up.
preparing to raid, I just want to thank everybody who's around and everybody who's on VOD for just an awesome year of hanging out and like creating TTRPG streams and all of the stuff, because all of the things that we do are like super not possible without y'all out there. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Uh, all right, we're setting this raid up. So, if y'all wouldn't mind just sticking around just a little bit longer, so we can go raid Malls and give her some rule of lore love. We will see you on the new year, possibly around the Discord. But if not, we will see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody.
good night. Bye.